Good morning, and welcome to Dawn. Welcome to Dawn. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Somebody let me know. Boom, and then we will run. We will start. I can see quite a few of you. Umlu says we're loud and clear. Thank you so much. Now, two things I want to quickly mention before I continue. Number one, of course, you are aware that we're reading the book of Proverbs, and we started on the 1st of October. Today's the 18th, so we are on Proverbs chapter 18. Please note this. I have come to the conclusion that when I read the book of Proverbs, because what I normally would do is I'll read the entire chapter and then I'll go into a summary proposition. But I have begun to realize that some people, because they follow me as I read the entire chapter, conclude that means they have read the chapter and they don't need to read it anymore. No, you've not read the chapter. So I am no longer going to read the entire chapter. You're following me. Understand that what I'm going to give you is a summary of the chapter, only a summary. So you have not yet read the chapter. So if you have come to dawn this morning and you've not read your Proverbs chapter 18, it's fine, right? I'll give you a summary of it. Then you will go back and you will read the book of Proverbs 18. All right. So I am no longer going to read the entire chapter. People are taking that to mean that they have read the chapter. Also, one thing that is very common is when you start a program like this, when you begin to cross the middle, halfway through, people begin to slack. People begin to fall by the wayside. People begin to skip days. I want to encourage you. Come on, be disciplined. Be disciplined. This is changing your life. You have come this far. This is day 18. You've crossed the halfway mark. Push and follow through. Push and follow through. You need to try. You need to try. All right. Being told to do something here. Let me do this. All right. Push and follow through. You have come this far. You can get through to the very end. All right. Don't be discouraged at this point in time. Is that fair? All right. So, Proverbs chapter 18. Let me give you a summary of what the book is about, and then you will read it, and maybe the summary will help you understand it in context. And then afterwards, I will give you my takeaway, my own takeaway. I will expatiate on it, and you already know what that's about. It's about relationships. So, summary of Proverbs chapter 18 for me is a scholarly perspective, and I took my reading today from the Passion Translation. So, Proverbs chapter 18 serves as a guide for understanding the impact of words and relationships. It serves as a guide to understanding the impact of words and relationships. It focuses on the power of speech, the importance of listening, and the role of wisdom in resolving conflicts and building strong relationships. Proverbs chapter 18 spoke a lot about words and relationships. I'll mention that now. The chapter stresses that words can either bring life or destruction and emphasizes the value of discernment in human interactions. The focus of Proverbs chapter 18 is one, the power of words. So we see there in that chapter that words have the ability to uplift or tear down, and the wise recognize this power, speaking with care and discretion. Number two, it focuses on the importance of relationships. I'm going to come there. The chapter underscores the value of strong relationships, warning against isolation and encouraging humility in conflict resolution. Let's break it down. Verses 1 to 8 focus on the danger of isolation and foolish talk. The danger of isolation and foolish talk. These verses, verses 1 to 8, these verses warn against isolating oneself from others and being quick to speak without listening. A fool's words can cause strife, leading to conflict, while gossip is described as a destructive force that can deeply harm relationships. I need to stress this. You see, it talks about the danger. Proverbs 18 talks about the danger of isolation. When you find yourself beginning to want to stay away from everybody, you don't want to interact, you don't want to connect. Maybe you are already showing signs of depression and you don't know it. Isolation, avoiding interaction and relationships is one of the signs of depression. You might still be functioning and everything might look like they're going well, but if you find yourself pulling away consistently from people, you just want to be away from people, you just want to be alone, those are sometimes the very first signs of depression. And when not addressed, it escalates into other issues. Verses 9 to 12 focus on the strength of wisdom and humility. Wisdom is presented in these verses as a source of strength, much more reliable than wealth. Humility is essential as pride leads to destruction. Verse 12 contrasts the downfall of the arrogant with the honor that comes from humility. Verses 13 to 21 focuses on the power of listening and speaking. This section emphasizes the importance of listening before speaking, warning that hasty responses lead to shame. And you and I know that hasty responses lead to shame. Wise words bring satisfaction. And verse 21 famously states that life and death are in the power of the tongue, stressing the need to guard what you say. We addressed this, I think, earlier on in the week, or was it last week when we talked about guarding your lips. The last set of verses, verses 24 to 22 to 24, emphasize and puts the spotlight on the value of relationships. The chapter concludes by highlighting the blessings of a good spouse and a close friend. Relationships, particularly those grounded in wisdom and love, are invaluable, but the wrong kind of relationships or isolation can lead to your ruin. So, Proverbs 18 reminds us of the incredible power of words and relationships in shaping our lives. It encourages humility, listening, and wise speech, emphasizing that life or destruction flows from your mouth. The chapter reinforces that relationships, whether with a spouse or friends, hold great value and should be handled with care and with discernment. I particularly love the very popular one, Proverbs 18, verse 21, even though I'm going to focus now on relationships. But Proverbs 18:21 is a very popular verse that we must remember. Your words are so powerful that they will kill or they will give life, and the talkative person will reap the consequences. Did you get that? Now, that's the summary of Proverbs chapter 18. If you've not read it, by the time we're done, please go read it for yourself. But now, let me quickly give you my takeaway. One of the key things I began to see in Proverbs chapter 18 was its emphasis on relationships. And that's such a big deal. A man came into my office several years ago. He had flown in from another country to attend a conference here in Santa. And he came into my office and said, "Look, I didn't book an appointment. So I don't know if you have enough time. But if I was to ask you, other than my relationship with God, what is the number one thing that I can do that can ultimately change my life?" And then he paused and said, "I know this might be a difficult question." I stopped him. I said, "That's not a difficult question. That is a question I have contemplated and I have arrived at an answer. The number one thing besides God, after you've developed a relationship with God or you're developing one, outside of that, that you need to cultivate, that can change or destroy, change for the better, or completely damage your life, has to be relationships. If you want to pray more, if you want to advance in your career, you want to advance in your business, relationships, you want better state and peace of mind, relationships must be cultivated. God has ensured that no matter how phenomenal you are, for you to rise in this life, you will need to connect with others. You will need to associate with others. So when I hear people make statements like, "I'm a self-made man," they're lying. And those people are just full of pride. Because for them to have been made, they needed to have interacted with someone and with actually with multiple people for them to have arrived at their definition of success. Because there is no success without cultivating the right relationship. Jesus, God manifest in the flesh, had to build relationships to fulfill his destiny, had to build relationships to carry on his mandate and his legacy. You would have thought that he's God Almighty, he needs nobody. No, when he became a man, as an example to us men, he built and forged important relationships. And in the light of that, I want to talk about 9 relationships that the book of Proverbs ultimately draws our attention to, that we need to cultivate. Number 1, the obvious, your relationship with God. This is where it all starts from. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to 6, New Living Translation says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take." Your relationship with God is the foundation for all relationships. Cultivating a deep, trusting relationship with God ensures we live with wisdom, guidance, and purpose. Your relationship with God is so important and has to be diligently cultivated like you are doing now, because the other relationships can fail you. The other relationships can hurt you. The other relationships can even go further and betray you. And so God is the only one who remains constant. Constant in the sense that he will always be there. He's also the only one who remains consistent. Consistent in the sense that what he brings to the table will not change. And I promise you, he only brings good to the table. Cultivate your relationship with God. Every relationship that begins to take you away from God has now become, no matter how good that relationship has been, the minute it begins to take you away from God, it is becoming demonic. It is becoming an instrument of hell. Nothing must separate you from your relationship with God, even at the cost of your safety. Anything that will cost you your relationship with God must be treated as an enemy. This is the one relationship that does not falter, that does not shake in any remote way. All right. Number two relationship that you need to put a spotlight on is your familial relationships, your family relationships. Let me give you a scripture. We read this yesterday, Proverbs 17, verse 6. Grandparents have the crowning glory of life, which is their grandchildren. And it's only proper for children to take pride in their parents. Tomorrow you will see this verse, chapter 19, verse 14, also of Proverbs. It says, fathers can give their sons an inheritance of houses and wealth, but only the Lord can give an understanding wife. Now, of course, that also works the other way. Only the Lord can give an understanding husband. Here is drawing our attention to the need for us to build deep family relationships. Your husband, your wife, your children, your brothers, your sisters, your parents. Build family relationships. It's unfortunate the way so many of us focus on outside relationships, focus on work relationships, and put a lot of spotlight there to the detriment of our family relationships. Your work relationships will end one day. Your friends will go. If they have enough sense, at some point, they will go back to their families. And the only ones that will stay with you is your immediate family. You need to nurture your immediate family. I've seen parents who are irresponsible parents, and then when they get older, they begin to reach out to their kids, and when their kids don't want to have anything to do with them, they begin to say, everybody makes mistakes, I am your parent, I am still your father. That's nonsense. Cultivate the relationship now so that you will not have to be telling stories in an emotional blackmail in the future. Your immediate relationships, your spouses, your children, your parents, your family, these are so important. The older you get, the more you will realize that others will go away. These ones are going nowhere. These are the ones that will stay there. And if you've not nurtured them well, you are setting yourself up for sorrow in your latter years. Reorganize and reorient your current program and your current schedule to put a spotlight on your familial relationships. I'm speaking to somebody here. If you do not do this, you will set yourself up for great sorrow in the future. Number three relationship you need to look at has to be friends. Your friends. You need to have friends. You need to cultivate friends. Friends are so important. Friends have a way of helping you de-stress. Friends have a way of bringing you to a place where you are just able to take your armor off. You are able to friends can give you joy. Maybe I should better put, give you happiness. I remember I got to the office yesterday morning to start my meetings, and while my staff was preparing my office, I picked my phone and I called a friend. I didn't have anything to say. I was sharing with him something my pastor had shared with me, and he was giving me his opinion. I gave him mine. He shared with me what's going on in space. I did the same. By the time I was done, there was nothing big, nothing deep, but by the time I was done, I felt centered. I felt appreciated. I felt I've just spoken to somebody who truly wants to see me succeed, and vice versa. And I began my day with my various intense meetings. Same thing with you. You need your friends. Do not put them before your family, but you need to prioritize them. Now, there are different kinds of friends, but I don't have the time to break them down. But it's not all your friends cannot, you can't have several best friends, several close friends. Like Jesus, make sure your friends are in your concentric circles. Jesus had the 70 people he was acquainted with. Jesus had the 12 that he had a close relationship with. Amongst the 12, he had the three that he had an even closer relationship with. And it was the three he took, for example, to the Mount of Transfiguration. He didn't take the others, only the three saw that. And even amongst the three, he had the one. His name was Peter. And this was the individual that he shared even more secrets with. You need friends because you need a place where you can, you need people that will be your confidants. I promise you, you need to have people. And if you don't have people that are your secret keepers, oh my goodness, your life, your internal life, that is the way things are moving on your inside, in your heart, in your mind, will be murky waters. Because finding and having people that you can have as your confidant that will not betray your trust, right, has a way of keeping you from losing your mind. May you be someone's confidant, and may you be able to have confidence. So friends and friendships. Number 4, you need to have mentors and teachers. Mentors and teachers. Proverbs 13 verse 20 says, you want to grow in wisdom, spend time with the wise, walk with the wicked, and you will eventually become just like them. We're encouraged to seek wisdom from mentors, seek wisdom from teachers, those who have walked the path before us and can offer us valuable insight, guidance, and correction. There's a difference between a mentor and a coach. A mentor is a person who has arrived where you want to arrive. So they have achieved what you want to achieve, right? They're not people that you call every time. You should not be able to call your mentor every time. If not, they're not busy enough. But they have reached and arrived at the location that you would want to arrive at. And so you interact with them and they give you counsel so that you don't make the same mistakes that they already have answers to. You better have a mentor or a set of mentors that you are drawing and you are drinking from. Number 5, you need to have mentees, people you are pouring into. Look, your mentor will ensure that you remain humble, because when you have achieved so much and you go to your mentor is not impressed by your accomplishment. As a matter of fact, your accomplishment to them pales in comparison. So mentors, apart from the lessons you learn from them, they keep you humble. They keep you in a place where you still realize there's something to strive for, but you need a mentee. Mentees are the individuals that are in your space that you are pouring into. There's something that we all know by now, and we all should know by now. The more you teach, the more you learn. The more you pour out, the more is poured into you. That's just the cycle of life. If you don't have mentees, you are selfish and you will not grow. You see, one of the things about your mentees as well is that they also have an interesting way of asking you some interesting questions that can actually become quite soul searching to help you reevaluate and maybe even help you articulate why and how you became successful. Mentees are essential. Proverbs 22 verse 6 shows us and draws attention to why we must have that. And I will post all these on the hub. Number 6, you need counselors, advisors, coaches. Counselors, advisors, coaches. Proverbs 15:22 says, plans go wrong for lack of advice. Many advisors bring success. Having wise counselors or advisors or coaches around you can help you avoid poor decisions. You see, these are individuals, right, that you throw your thoughts, at, and they interrogate it, they challenge it, and they give you counsel from their position of experience. And you need these individuals in your life, right? These are the ones that will fine tune your thought process and help you see your blind spots. These are important, all right? Counselors, advisors, coaches. Number 7, spiritual leaders. See, if you don't have a pastor, I was saying to somebody yesterday that some people complain and say there's something wrong with all the many churches on the face of the planet. Why are there so many churches? God has allowed so many churches. So stop arguing about that. Stop arguing as if it's the mistake. God made a mistake. God knew this was going to happen and he did not send fire to destroy it. Leave it as is. But I believe that one of the key reasons why there are so many churches is so that people will not have excuses. You have people that say, I was hurt by this church, so I don't go to church anymore. Just say that you have a bitter heart. Because what do you mean by that? So if you drink bad tea today and you love tea, that means you will never drink tea again because this tea was not made right. That's absolute rubbish, right? The reason why there are so many options of churches is so that you have alternatives. Go and find the one that your heart connects with. You need spiritual leaders. Ephesians chapter 4 makes it clear. There is a level of spiritual growth and transcendence that you will never arrive at. No matter how hard you pray, no matter how much you love God, you will never arrive at. Because God has hidden your ability to arrive there in the people he listed in Ephesians chapter 4. Your apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers, these individuals have been given a mandate and a mantle to grow you into the fullness of the measure of the stature of Christ. You need spiritual leaders. Of course, you have those who are abusive, right? And when you discover abuse, and make sure you are actually discovering abuse, not that it's you that is having bias and you're calling your bias abuse, right? But when you discover abuse, pull yourself out of that scenario and find another place that God has ordained for you. So number 8, accountability or prayer partners. Now, of course, sometimes your friends can fall into this category, but it's not always the case. You must have people that you are able to call and that you are able to say to them, I'm going on a fast. Will you fast with me concerning so and so? I need to pray about so and so. Can we meet up and can we address this matter? You need prayer partners. This is it. Too many believers are having drinking partners, hiking partners. You have no prayer partner. Something is wrong. You clearly do not appreciate what the Bible says, that if two shall agree upon touching anything, it shall be meted unto them. You need to have your prayer partners. You need to have accountability. I call them accountability / prayer partners. These are individuals that they might not necessarily be your friends, but they're not afraid to call you to order. These are individuals that are not afraid to say to you, this decision that you're making is from the devil. Who gave you this idea? You need to have individuals that can do that for you. A proper prayer partner is an individual who hopefully has a relationship with God himself or herself. So they're able to say to you that this path that you're about to take, I think there's a lot of flesh here. So before we even pray the outcome you're seeking, let's first pray that this flesh that I am sensing in you is first of all addressed. You need to have accountability / prayer partners. Number 9, this one is also very obvious. Build your work relationships. Work relationships do not have to become friends. I do not try and turn the people you work with into your friends. If it happens organically, great. But you need to nurture your business and your work relationships. This is so essential. Nurture your business and your work relationships. People say things like, all you need is God. All you need is God. God does not say so. The God that people are saying all you need is him did not say so. The same God that knows that he should be your priority calls himself your number 1 priority. He never calls himself your only priority. Jesus did not say you have forsaken your love. Jesus says you are forsaking your first love, because he knows that you should have other loves. You should have other relationships. You should have other places that your heart goes out to. The issue here is they should not become idolatrous where they take the place of God. Work relationships are so important. Listen, it might not matter who does not like you, but it definitely matters who likes you. When the right person likes you, your life can change. I've told you this before. God told Ananias to go and lay hands on Paul because Paul was blind. God told Ananias to go and lay hands on Paul. Ananias began to argue with God. He was arguing with God. Guess what? For as long as Ananias argued with God, Paul remained blind. God had already earmarked, scheduled, arranged for how he will heal Paul. But the man that he had sent was arguing with him. And again, for as long as he argued, God's plan for Paul was in stasis mode. So do not downplay the power of relationships. These 9 relationships, there are many others, but these 9, the book of Proverbs in summary draws our attention to the need to cultivate them, to the need to nurture them accordingly. I want to encourage you. Go over these 9 and put everybody in that category and make sure you nurture them accordingly. See, do not forget what I've just said. Your family relationships are such a priority. Don't abuse your family. Don't treat them as second class to the other relationships and then demand more from them when the time comes. You have been irresponsible if you are to do that. So build these 9 relationships. That's my takeaway from the book of Proverbs 18. Build these 9 relationships and you will find yourself in a state of peace. Amen. I will post these now on the hub. Well, not too long from now on the hub, so that you can see that. If you don't know what the hub is, it's our WhatsApp platform that we set up, particularly for those of us, where we communicate so many other things. But in that hub, there is now the Proverbs program. And we have over almost 150 people there reading the book of Proverbs together. Be encouraged. You have gone past the halfway mark. Keep reading. Let's finish strong. Let's finish together. We're on Proverbs chapter 18 today. Read it. If you've watched this already, great. Share it and nurture your relationships. All right. On the 31st, I need you to register. We'll put in the link. Someone mentioned to us yesterday that the link was not working. I think we have corrected that link now. I want to encourage you. Register for this parenting class. There's some new information that I didn't share when I did it live. You need to be in this parenting class. There will also be provision for you to ask questions. And I will do my best to answer. And if I cannot, I will take your name, take your question, and I promise we will get answers from those who can. But you need to come into the room. It's on the 31st. It's online. It's an online course. It's about 2.5 hours. I think is it a Thursday or a Friday, but it's on the 31st. And the time and details will be on your screen. Take it now. Stop waiting till the last minute to register. That is not the way to live life. If this is something you want, make a decision and act on it. Procrastination makes no sense when you are determined that this is something that you need. It's a Zoom class. We have space for a limited number of people because it's a Zoom class. So register, because once it's full, we are not going to stream it. So once it's full, there is no room. I hope to catch you. If you're a parent or you expect to be, on the 31st of October. That is just shy of 2 weeks now. All right. God bless you, my family. I'll catch you. Oh, it's Friday. Friday is giving Friday. If you are being blessed, this is making sense to you, this has helped you, this is sowing seeds into your life and destiny, I want to encourage you. Join me on Friday. Today is Friday. I want to encourage you. Make sure you give. The details will be on your screen. Do what you can. God bless you. Great grace as you go into the weekend. His oil is upon your life and destiny. If you don't have a church to fellowship, maybe you should check us out in Sandton. We're in South Africa. Check us out in Sandton. Details will be on your screen. God bless you. Catch you again next week on Dawn. Bye for now.